clear. All Orthodox religions, at least Western religions, there might be a few elements of Hinduism and Buddhism that are an exception, but let's just say the Judeo-Christian Islamic system of belief, to me, is no different than the isms of state associations that we see in our political sphere, meaning communism, socialism, fascism, capitalism. These are ideas that have been created that have no relevance to nature whatsoever. In other words, they have absolutely no relevance to the carrying capacity of the earth, to our ability to support ourselves, to our ability to produce, to the methods of production, to the methods of distribution, to the way we orient society and keep ourselves alive and keep ourselves healthy and prosper, and for the betterment of what I consider to be the organism of the human species as a single organism. None of those beliefs have anything to do with any of that. And that's a problem to me. For example, the Catholic Church and a lot of other religions that feed off of those early Old Testament ideologies, they advocate this illusion that we can just procreate constantly and everyone's going to be fine. God will take care of everyone. As of right now, with the future of energy, established energy, the future of the way we are orienting ourselves on this planet through depletion, I'm not having any children. While I try to be as optimistic as possible with the Zeitgeist movement and what we could do, which is phenomenal what we could do, as of right now we have some powerful barriers. I'm not having children. Why? Why would I say that? First of all, I wouldn't feel good. I would feel utterly negligent and irresponsible at this point in time to bring in another human being. Most people, when they give birth to children, it's a traditionalized, self-serving, established notion where we're going to have kids and have a family. To hell with the carrying capacity of the earth. To hell with the fact that we might be impoverished. I mean, you see this in trailer parks all the time. I used to live in a trailer park. I've seen this countless times. People don't have any relationship to anything. They have no education as far as what makes society work, as far as what the processes are that feed them. So they continue to have kids over and over and over again, or continue to do many, many things that have no relationship to anything. But let's focus on the children aspect. For me to bring in a child is for me to actually say, I believe the world will be in good shape for the duration of my child's life. And then it becomes, well, what if my child has a grandchild? Should the world have the integrity to maintain stability for that child as well? This is the question. This is what all parents out there should be asking themselves. They shouldn't be having children for their own self-serving needs so they can have a family and be traditional and show up at church and have their 2 kids. It has to relate to something real. Humanity has to start thinking about its relationship to the earth. Until it does so, we're fucking doomed. We have created an economic structure, a religious, philosophical structure that is absolutely decoupled from anything tangible and real, and these ideologies are what will destroy the human species and destroy the planet. It's become a cottage industry for people to sell books and DVDs debunking Zeitgeist. There are people that have full websites that use advertising sponsorship to make money, and I find the whole thing just to be amusing, frankly. Zeitgeist 1 is based on pre-existing information. There isn't one thing in that film that doesn't come from a source. The most grand debunking aspect is part 1, the religion section. Comparative religion. It's no mystery. It's been talked about for decades and centuries. Religions have been borrowing from each other. Religions have to borrow from each other. Why? Because all information is serial. All knowledge is serial. It is illogical to think that any information of any religion is of a novel origin. And that's the beauty of it, in fact, when you trace the source of most established religions, because they all come back to nature. They all come back from primitive ideas about natural unfoldings of nature, storms, the sun, obviously. It's nothing metaphysical, it's nothing esoteric, it's just absolutely obvious. Is it any mystery that the sun has been idolized as a source of life, which it is it any mystery for any of that? Obviously not. As of right now, we are running out of oil. We are going to be running out of natural gas. In fact, very simply, all fossil fuels, which is the governance of all society, our entire society is completely created based on fossil fuels, from the plastics, everything. I won't even go into it. Anyone who questions that, just take a moment to think about what oil powers, what fossil fuels power, from the lights that we all use, from the coal or natural gas power plants, to what runs your car, to what comprises the fabric of industrial civilization is fossil fuels. And we are provably using them at a rate far exceeding their renewability, which takes hundreds of millions of years. No one's thinking about this. No one is thinking about it because the economic paradigm will not allow it. The core value of Western society today, I mean, in America, the central motivating value now is nothing but blind consumption. Saturdays are for shopping, I heard someone once say. You know, there's a reason why I used Times Square in Zeitgeist addendum as the noise. If you remember, there's all the noise on the screens, because Times Square is the epitome of absolute waste, of the most disgusting angles of humanity, materialistic noise. Humanity cannot survive in a paradigm that requires infinite growth, which again is what it's based on. If you're not familiar with that, think about it. All we do is buy and consume and consume and consume. That's what makes the economy go. If people stop buying, the GDP of all countries goes down. Well, the more we buy, consume, and waste our resources, the faster we extinguish ourselves. What do you do? What do you do? How do you stop this? This is why the Zeitgeist movement exists. We have to, one, get a philosophical disposition under our belts that says, you know what, we're all on the same page. We all have to survive on this planet. We are faced with some tremendous problems, and the only way they're going to be resolved is to begin to work together. Everyone needs to shed their religious ideas. They need to shed their capitalist, socialist, fascist, communist pre-constructs. They need to shed everything that they have been taught and ask themselves one simple question: what the fuck do we need to continue our survival on this planet without horrors and wars and continuing the patterns and all the things that continue to happen? You know, the Zeitgeist movement, as has been denoted in all of our materials, is the, quote, activist arm of the Venus Project, pushing forward to what we call a resource-based economy. A resource-based economy is very, very simple. It is simply a system that is structured in a, quote, systems theory approach. To explain a systems theory approach, all you have to do is look at the planet itself. The planet is a holistic system. So the first step is very, very simple. We recognize it's a system, and we treat it as such. We have to start measuring and monitoring all the earthly resources. We cannot be so stupid as to give corporations the ability to control for their own little clique's betterment resources that we all should have an inherent deserving. Every resource on the planet should be common heritage to all human beings. There's no way to create a stable society otherwise. So when you're born on this planet, you inherit the planet. The planet is your home, not some plot of land that is, has the illusion of property, not some house that you think you own. There's no such thing as ownership. The idea of ownership is controlled restriction. Ownership is simply there really for those at the top to make sure no one can interfere with the fact that they control mostly everything. So we have to monitor the planet's resources. We have to begin to construct a system of production and distribution that is not based on the whims of profit. It's based on what is the most efficient means to do that. There are resources all over the planet, obviously. We have to begin to understand what we have, and we have to use science and technology to begin to orient our use of these resources in the most efficient way possible. And that's why we advocate the systems approach that we do. If you motivated our resources right now to change the face of the earth, to create a resource-based economy, we could do it very, very quickly. The problem is, again, the established orthodoxies and self-preserving mechanisms that are in place, which will be our death. The free market is what will kill everything on this planet. It's not the free market, it's actually the monetary system. Monetary acquisition and exchange through labor for income, and the motivation of profit will be what destroys